Welcome back to Beyond the Limelight, presented by Master Effects. My name is Ryan. I'm the marketing director here at Master Effects. I'm joined by Vince Camerano, the owner. If you're new to this show, thanks for joining us. Our mission with Beyond the Limelight is to go behind the scenes with the entertainment industry's most influential people. And we like to share expertise, gain some knowledge, and inspire the next generation of artists and entrepreneurs. So if you like what you hear, please let us know. Leave a review. We'd love to hear from you. Without further ado, we do have an amazing guest today, Vince.
We'd like to welcome a very special guest, a professional cinematographer, filmmaker, content director for brands like Nike, National Geographic, MTV, and Chevy. She is also Aperture's resident pro, as well as an Adobe master trainer, the incredible Valentina Vee. How are you, Valentina?
Hello. I'm doing well. I just put all this together. So
well,
if you're only listening to audio, it's just like my whole studio. So
and it looks fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah. The lights are red. Can you change colors on the lights? That's one of the questions.
Yeah, and I can change them with a smart assistant. So if I mute myself, give me a sec.
Can't hear you now. Oh, so you should be watching. You should.
I didn't want to set off all the smart assistants in that everyone's listening to. So.
Oh, that's very thoughtful of you. This is awesome. You guys should be watching this if you're listening on Spotify, Apple, wherever you are.
Yeah, the blue's better for sure.
It matches with the hair more.
Matches the hair, yes.
It's great contrast. So, Valentina, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got started in this industry, what inspired you to take this path?
Very, very slowly. I don't think I ever really gung-hoed it. I studied design, media arts at UCLA, but I was always really interested in film, and little by little, starting out as a intern at Paramount Pictures, then a PA on a bunch of indie movies, moved my way up to first AD, and then started working in the YouTube world as an editor, then as a cinematographer, eventually worked my way up to directing music videos and campaigns. So it's been a really long journey. Started in 2010. So it's been over a decade professionally. Mm-hmm. And then as far as my interest in it, since I was 7, I'm pretty sure everyone in the industry had some sort of spark early on.
Yeah, absolutely. And have you always lived in California? I understand you immigrated from Kazakhstan. Is that correct?
I did. Yeah. I immigrated from Kazakhstan when I was 7. Wild.
That's amazing. Yeah. What was that transition like coming to the US?
It was insane. I didn't speak English. I mean, I was small, so I don't remember a lot, but I do remember that, going into a grocery store, which we didn't have, and just seeing how many different varieties of everything there is. And that was kind of just whoa, I'm living the rich life. This is insanity over here. So, yeah.
Wow.
So I want to start from when you first, I remember Ryan walking into my office one day going, hey, you got to check this girl's work out. This is amazing. Because we're always looking at influential video content creators and stuff to help our brand shine when it comes to videos and stuff. And I'm she is unbelievable. And then, so tell us the story of how you first heard of Valentina.
Well, this is a couple of years ago. I think you had made a TikTok video, and I'm just scrolling through, and it was a looping video. I don't remember what the topic was, but I remember watching it 5 times over because it perfectly looped. I was I just learned a lot for 1 minute, and I've been following you ever since, and I kind of can't believe that we're a couple years later, we're chatting with you. It's pretty surreal to us.
That's so wild that you found me through a TikTok. Who would have thunk?
Yeah, I don't even know if it's still a thing because I watched a little bit too much of TikTok, but now I'm following you on YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff, and the content just continues to keep getting better. So
yeah, weirdly, I haven't posted TikToks in quite a while, but because of my TikTok presence, I actually directed TikTok's next ad campaign, for the company. So that was really interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is super cool. And then, when Ryan told me that you started using the Mystic Hazer, I was like, this is insane. So
I love that thing.
We appreciate that.
It's a quick story. Tomorrow I actually have a music video launching, and on the first shoot day, I meant to bring it. I left it at home because I was directing the music video and I had so many other things to bring and to take care of. My mind was a million places. I usually make a checklist, but I didn't this time. And I left it at home. And it was so like integral to the scene that I sent my PA out to my house to get it. Like it was like 30 minutes there and back. We were holding for Hayes forever. But the great thing is that because it's like so fast to warm up, you know, as soon as it got there, it like bam, warmed up, let's go. Like we were ready. But yeah, it was, you'll see it tomorrow. It's it like we needed it. We really did need it. I can't believe I forgot it at home.
Well, I love to hear that. We're excited to see it. Yeah. So you are always doing so many things, seemingly all at once. You're directing, you're teaching, you're hosting shows, you're doing webinars, you're planning, creating. How on earth do you balance it all?
Oh, badly, very poorly. I don't have a social life and I don't sleep and it's not good and I need to be better about it. I paid for a to-do app, like a to-do list app on my phone, and it sits empty because the amount of time it takes me to write a to-do, I could have already done something else. You know, like I don't have time to write a to-do list at this point. So
it's just go, go, go.
Yeah, it's always go, go, go. It's not a good thing. I'm not advocating for it. It's unhealthy and it's bad.
But how do you combat it? Like what would be the alternative? Would you have to get rid of some things?
It's hard. I was DPing a music video a few weeks ago and I was talking to my crew about this because one of them was about to like go on a date and the other crew was like, yeah, good luck with that. Like you'll never see them again. Like it's really hard when you're in the industry because it's just so, especially when you're in like the non-union industry and you're sort of just picking up gigs like a couple of days here, a week there. You're sort of just like a slave to whoever's schedule. It's nice for me when I'm the director because it's on my schedule, but that, you know, I have a mix, so I'm not always the director.
Mm-hmm. But when it becomes too much, do you feel like certain areas of expertise kind of fall by the wayside and don't get the attention they deserve? Like, where do you draw that line? What do you sacrifice in order to get some of your free time back?
You start like scaling up in what you do. So for example, a couple of years ago, I put this rule in place that I do not edit anything I don't direct. Because if people just hire me to edit, I would be doing nothing but sitting on my butt all day and never seeing the outside world. So I put that rule in place. And then it became that everyone was hiring me to direct because they wanted me to edit. So then I had to kind of scale that back and say, okay, like I need to hire some editors because now it's like, I want to direct more, but I can't spend the time editing because in the like 1 week of editing that I have, 1 week of post, I could be directing the next thing. Mm-hmm. So then I hired like editors under me on a project per project basis. So it's sort of, you know, when you start out doing this, certainly when I did, you kind of take anything that comes at you. And then you start narrowing your focus, whether it's skill wise or it's content wise, in the types of content that you take. So whether it's like, for me, I'm only going to take content that makes the world better in some way, that is a positive influence on people. I'm not going to take any content that's like, you know, like celebrity driven, for example. You'll never see me like making a TMZ thing. I'm never going to take content that's like putting anyone down or like against my political beliefs or something like that. So that sort of narrows that scope.
Yeah, well, that certainly shows what kind of person you are. I mean, money talks in different ways, and for you to hold your ground, that's awesome. So,
yeah, and that was actually one of the questions I had for you is, you know, what was that pivotal moment where you decided this is going to be your purpose? I'm not going to be money driven. I'm going to be message driven.
It was actually pretty clear to me. Because before I was an Adobe master trainer, like to become a master trainer, you have to get rated really highly by people who come to the Adobe Max conference, and to be invited to speak at the Adobe Max conference, you have to speak at other things. So I was speaking at my first Adobe thing, which was a panel, and it was like me and the post-production supervisor at some studio and another post-production supervisor at a studio. And I felt completely out of my depth. Like, what am I doing here? And then afterwards, this like man comes up to me and says, hey, like my daughter, she's 13. I've never seen anyone in this industry who's a woman speak like you do and be successful like you are. And my daughter said that she wants to do the same thing. I told her no, but now I'm going to tell her yes, because I see you as an example. And that happened, I think in like 2015 or something. And it totally like broke me. And I was like, oh, I see now. I see what my purpose here is. It's beyond just, hey, I'm creating another ad or I'm creating another music video. It's the fact that like people can see me succeed and hopefully be inspired by that.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it leads to much more authentic work. And that's a powerful moment, because it not only impacted you, but it also impacted that young girl. So
can you tell us?
And I get messages like that all the time now from women.
I'm glad to hear. That's awesome.
Yeah, good for you. That's incredible. Can you tell us a little bit more about the Adobe Master Trainer? Like what does it take to be an Adobe Master Trainer?
It doesn't take a ton. You just have to be rated really highly by the people at the Adobe Max conference. So like that's like the official way to do it, which is actually pretty hard because you have to be one of like the top 25 trainers, and it's across all of Adobe. So that includes like Photoshop and Illustrator and all of their programs. And Adobe Max is a conference that's mostly, I think, focused on designers, not so much the motion side of things. So it was really hard. It took me like 4 years of trying. And the year that I actually like got it for the first time, I spent like months preparing my presentations, because it's not just you have to like be technically proficient in what you're teaching in, you also have to appeal to people. So you also have to like put humor in there and like a way to layman's terms your way into people's understandings and not be boring and not be too technical, but also teach them something that they're going to walk away with and say, wow, and like have good examples. And I feel like for photography people, it's really easy because they show like the before editing, then they click a button. It's like after, it's like a big like reveal. And then they're like, I'll show you how to do it. But for video, it's a lot harder because you have all this like raw footage. You can't exactly it's not like a snap. You have to really talk people through. So I think I've spent a really long time. I spent years and years and years just like honing my teaching skills and understanding how to be a good public speaker and how to convey information in the most succinct way possible while still being engaging and interesting.
Yeah. And before you even got into that teaching aspect, you had to learn the programs yourself. Did you take professional training, or did you just figure that out just trial and error?
I did study design media arts, which had some training, but definitely not anything close to what I'm doing now. In fact, a lot of what we had to do was actually watch tutorials that were recommended to us by our professor from like YouTube. So it'd be like, watch Philip Bloom's video school on Vimeo to learn how to do camera, watch the Andrew Kramer video co-pilot basic training to learn After Effects. And what's so wild now is that me and Andrew Kramer, we like both teach at the same conferences, like back to back. And I learned After Effects watching his videos, which is wild. But yeah, now I'm at the point in my career where sometimes Adobe will ask me to teach some process. And it's happened like 1 or 2 times where I don't even know what that is, or like I've never done it before. I've never used it. And at this point, they just assume that I know everything. So they're like, oh, next week you'll teach about productions. And I'm like, I teach about what? What are those? So then I have to actually, I'm pretty good about just being like, hey, could somebody from the team teach me? And I'll have a one-on-one with somebody from the Adobe team. And they'll actually like walk me through and show it. I think my biggest flex is I had to learn something in After Effects, and literally Victoria from After Effects like taught it to me before I had to teach it to other people. So that was really cool.
And for those of you who aren't familiar with Adobe Suite, After Effects, Premiere, stuff like that, it is incredibly intimidating. I've dove in a little bit, but wow, I'm like just scratching the surface, and I'm already 4 years in, and I feel like every time I want to try something, I have no idea, and I have to go to stuff like you're doing, the YouTube tutorials, webinars, stuff like that. So
I still do as well, to be honest. And sometimes I forget how to do my own stuff. So I have to watch my own tutorial on it.
That's hilarious.
That's awesome.
So do you ever experience creative roadblocks in your process, and how do you combat them? Because you have to be creative pretty much 24/7. That's your job. So how do you get past that?
That's a really good question, because I literally have a pitch meeting right after this interview that I still have not thought of what I'm pitching. And I'm just gonna wing it. But most of the time when I have to be creative, I mean, first of all, I work for clients. I don't really create my own media very much. I work for like a music artist or a brand. And usually those people come to me with some sort of kernel of an idea, and then I can sort of mold it and make it real. Like this music video that's releasing tomorrow, the artist came to me with an idea of first I'm in the bedroom and then there's a dance scene, and I sort of sussed it out a little bit more and made it a little bit more concrete, and then put his idea to a shot list. And realize that, with what camera are we using, what lenses are we using, what lighting do we bring, what sort of production design is happening. So a lot of times it's sort of spurred by the client, and I don't have to come up with something out of nowhere, because I'm at the point where I'm not pitching ideas. Now for my tutorials, for my lighting tutorials or my editing tutorials, I am pitching ideas, because it's sort of an ongoing project, and I'm the head of my own ideas. They don't tell me what to make. Essentially, I have to do it. And that's always based on, well, what do I think I want on my reel? Or what do I think people would want to learn about more? What am I seeing in the culture that's popular? Or what is a hole that I can fill teaching wise that I haven't seen anyone else talk about or do? And with the lighting tutorials, it's pretty easy, because there's a million tutorials on how to light an interview, but there's not a ton of tutorials on how to light a 360 table scene, how to light for realistic indoor moonlight. So I kind of just, there's a lot that I can do, and I kind of just go through the list, and it's also very based on what locations are available. So I'll just go on Gigster or Peerspace and just see okay, what studios are in LA? What do they have to offer? How can I build something off of something that I can have access to?
Yeah.
Do you ever do anything out of California?
All the time. Yeah. In 2019, I directed 2 seasons of a travel show, and we went all over the world. We went to Southeast Asia and to Europe, to 10 different countries. And that was, I directed, and I was the head shooter for that one.
That's awesome.
Would you like to do something like that again, travel wise?
That is my dream. If
Really?
My dream is to just shoot travel content forever. If I could do that forever, I would be so happy. I've done a lot of travel content. And every time it's just so great, because I get to learn a new culture, try new food, try on a new language. I always like to pick up some phrases in whatever the language is that I'm in, because it really makes the locals feel like you are participating in their culture. I always try to learn some bad words too, so that I can make them laugh.
That's fun. And this kind of goes along with 4-Minute Film School, which, if you're not familiar, that's the Aperture show that Valentina is. You're essentially teaching different types of lighting, like you said, 360, how to light a 360 room, action, stuff like that. So you're teaching these different ways, but how often do you find yourself breaking the rules, the proverbial rules of lighting?
It's in my commercial work and in my music video work. I break rules all the time. It's so different when it's a tutorial, because you're teaching it. You have a certain, I always draw lighting diagrams, and I have a certain thing in mind, and I have to execute on that thing because I'm teaching it. So I'll say something like, oh, we're going to put a 300D as the hair light. And then I realize that that's too much. So then I switch it to a 60D and then I have to redo it and be like, so today we're putting a 60D as the hair light, like as if that was my plan all along when it wasn't. Whereas when I'm just like actually on set and I'm running around and I'm doing stuff, it's a lot less planned. I mean, it's still planned, but I can just like throw stuff up and see what works. That maybe isn't the most like educational. Like just the other day, I was the cinematographer for an ad for Facebook, and we had to gel a really, really hot light, an HMI light, with CTO because I was trying to match the hair light with window light with natural light. So of course the hair light had to be daylight to match the window color temperature wise. And I wanted a little bit of a contrast between the hair light and the key light. So I wanted the key light to be more tungsten, but this like really hot HMI, you can't exactly clip a gel to it or even to its barn doors because it's just going to melt. So I did like that sort of, you're not really supposed to do this thing where you just kind of tape a gel on a C-stand arm and put it in front of it. And then that way you can gel it and then have like a big 4x in front of it to make it soft. I would never do that really on 4-minute film school because that's not the best way to do something, right? You would have if I'm doing it on 4-minute film school, I would think that through ahead of time and I'd be like, okay, well, for me to have to do this, I would need to get a gel frame, and like put that properly up and do all the things properly because I'm teaching. But when I'm running around, it's kind of just like, whatever's at your fingertips, whatever you can grab.
It's about working with what you have and making the best of it.
Sometimes it pays off and it works out better than you even planned.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
I think the coolest thing about what you do and just you are Valentina Vee, you are a brand. Like you've created yourself as this brand. Like when I hear the name Valentina, I can automatically just see your Instagram vibe, everything. You have these just vibes about you that are just, I mean, it's awesome. And it's super cool for young and up and coming, creatives that want to do what you do. And I think it's amazing what you're doing. So thank you for what you're doing.
That's wild that people say that I am a brand or I have a brand because I never like intended for that to happen.
Well, it's
well,
awesome.
It worked out. Yeah. Sometimes the best things are accidental. So another thing is, we all have our mentors. Who were your mentors coming up into this industry, growing up, and what was one thing that really stuck with you over these years from them?
One of my mentors actually became one of my best friends. His name is Benjamin Von Wong. He goes by Von Wong online. He has been my favorite photographer forever. Like ever since I had a favorite photographer, it's been him. And I met him at a conference, talked to him a little bit, told him, hey, I'll work for you for free. If you hire me to do literally anything, I'll like edit for free. I'll shoot for free, anything. So we've been working together for many years now. We've gone all over the world together. We've gone to the Philippines and to Dubai and to Greece together. He's actually the reason that, I shot his Nike campaign. So he shot the Nike campaign. I shot like the campaign video for it. He shot a Dell campaign. I shot the campaign video for it. So he got me like really into and with the right people. And a lesson that I learned from him is, so he started out his career shooting like fashion and models, and he pivoted to shooting photos that were still very avant-garde and very beautiful, but for causes, like to raise awareness for causes, whether it's plastic pollution or e-waste recycling or whatever. And it's a lot less glam and you get a lot less, props for it really. Cause it's not the typical Hollywood thing, but it helps people. Right. And I was sort of in a place at the time where I was making, I was editing and shooting makeup videos. That was my job at the time. And then when that job ended, I started working as a content director for a manufacturing company. And when that was happening, I was it's sort of, I heard his voice in the back of my head, like, why are you doing this? Like, this isn't helping anyone. This isn't, you're just shooting videos of products. Like this is not what you're meant to do. You're meant to help people. You're meant to make things that are positive. So he completely changed the way that I thought about myself. And even now, I always get hit up by celebrities to like shoot content for them. I don't want to name names, but it's some of the biggest people out there who have slid into my DMs and been like, hey, can you follow me around for a day, make an Instagram video for me or whatever? And I turn all of them down in favor of videos that are going to help people. Because I don't really care about following a celebrity around at the end of the day. Like if it's travel though, I'll take it. Hey, if you're sending me somewhere, I will do it.
Yes. I think that's so awesome. That makes me like you even more because it's just you're true to yourself, and that's so important, and it's really hard to find in that industry. So kudos. That's awesome. Seriously.
Yeah, that is great. I think that would tie into a good question we have here.
Yeah, what do you got?
So like if you can give any advice to companies or brands or individuals on genuine ways to raise awareness for causes and encourage positive change, what would you say? Because companies can do it the wrong way, and I think brands can do it the wrong way just to get likes, and
they just do it because they feel like they have to. But like, how do you do it genuinely?
Do you think it starts with the people that these companies are hiring? What do you think what do you think makes it genuine?
Well, I think if you have a personal connection, if you're part of the community that you're raising awareness for, or something like that, or if you're not, you partner with someone. So for example, if you are doing a pride campaign, but none of the people in your office are gay or part of the LGBT community, it's hollow, it's pandering, and you're going to let things slip that someone who's part of the community would pause you on and be like, hey, this isn't genuine. This isn't good. Or you can partner with people. So for example, if you really want to raise money for the homeless problem in LA for unhoused population, then if you've never been unhoused and you don't know what it's like and you don't know how to approach a sensitive topic, then partners with someone like the LA Mission or like Invisible People or Chloe Cares. Partner with a nonprofit that is already doing the work, because you have the money if you're a brand and you want to spend that money, and then the nonprofit can like guide you. And by teaming up, it's not you just sharing that responsibility. So a lot of the jobs that I've done with Wong have been a big brand like Dell, for example. Dell wants to raise awareness about their e-waste recycling program. Now there's a lot in it for Dell, don't get me wrong, because they get paid for e-waste recycling, but it also helps the planet because you're recycling, your e-waste. So pairing with someone like Wong is a good idea for them because he's very well known for his campaigns. But at the end of the day, though, what change does it create? Does it create awareness? That's good, but like, can you take it one step further? Can you have a call to action or some sort of campaign that gets people to move or to actually physically change the way that they're acting? And I think that is really hard to do. And I think it takes a lot of effort to do that. You look at Greta Thunberg, right? How she like puts her money where her mouth is. She went to the leadership summit on a boat. Well, everyone, flew there. The G7 summit that just happened with like Biden and Johnson and Merkel and all these leaders, they were watching a fireworks parade at the end of it. And Greta called them out and was like, your hollow, empty promises don't ring true. You're burning a bunch of fuel to not only get to the summit, but also you're doing a fireworks presentation and you're like drinking out of straws and like, why, so having partnering, like they could have checked in with her, I think, if they really wanted it to ring true.
The hypocrisy of it all is aggravating. Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah. Great advice. Thank you.
Yeah, it really is great advice. And while we're on the advice train, if you could, give one piece of advice to younger boys or girls that are trying to break into that entertainment industry, that can be obviously very competitive and sometimes hollow, what would you say?
One thing I heard, I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
One thing I heard you say that I just took a note of is like you worked for free.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of kids these days, they just don't want to do, I feel. But can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Honestly, I still work for free. That's another lesson I took from Wong. He told me either work for free or for your rate. Never work for a discounted rate, because that's then like people will think that that's what you're worth, right? So I still work for free a lot if it's a project that I think is really going to propel me in my career. And maybe it doesn't have as much budget, but I believe in it a lot. So I'll still work for free for it. And I realize that is like a really privileged position to be in, because not everyone can afford to work for free. And I mean, I was there. Like I was very poor. I lived in a basement. I had no money. I like showered at the gym. I came up from basically nothing, very, very, very slowly. And part of the reason that happened was that I made friends. I made genuine friends with creative people who were willing to take chances on me. And filmmaking is such a collaborative effort, that it's going to be impossible for you to come up if you don't have people who are going to be there and support you no matter what. Like people who aren't wanting anything from you, people who just believe in you. So I fortunately had some very great people believe in me and like promote me and teach me a lot. So,
well, you're giving that right back, because you've done a phenomenal job teaching me and a lot of other people out there. So
thank you.
I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
So a couple final questions here. I know you got somewhere to be. So first off, where's the best place for people to connect with you if they want?
I'm all over social media, but Twitter is my favorite social network, and I'm just Valentina Vee on there.
Yeah. I've been enjoying Twitter a lot too. I'm not going to lie.
I don't have a Twitter.
Oh, you're missing out, man.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's hard when you start out, because you're not like part of a community when you start out, and you're getting recommended like follow Ellen DeGeneres, and you're like, why? But then when you get into the actual, like whatever your niche is, and you start sharing all your inside jokes, it actually becomes a lot more enjoyable.
It is. And then I guess my last question, unless you have anything else, Vince.
Yeah, I kind of want to know, what do you with creative people, like, here we love special effects, we love concerts and entertainment and film. And that's what we do all the time because we love it. But what do you like to do in your spare time? Like, what can people see Valentina doing? Are you hiking? Are you, playing Scrabble? What are you doing?
Oh, what is spare time? I don't know what that is. No, I do like hiking a lot. I actually hike quite often, at least once a week. I go up to the back of the Hollywood sign. But yeah, in my spare time, I try to work out as much as possible. It doesn't happen that often, but I try to do like an hour, maybe 3-4 times a week, going to the gym, doing like classes there and stuff like that. I also really love photography. So that's sort of a side passion hobby of mine. In fact, if you saw the TikTok, you probably saw one of my photo shoots that I did in like my own living room during quarantine. So I love taking photos. I love creative photography. I love makeup. I'm really big into Halloween. I start planning my Halloween costumes like months in advance, like full prosthetics and all that. So I have a lot of disparate interests. I don't get to engage them very often. I like painting too. I paint like a lot of things. Actually, I don't ever talk about it though.
That's super cool.
Yeah, I've never seen your painting. I have seen the pandemic pictures, which are really cool. Specifically the one that was like a cinematograph, I think you call it.
Yeah.
With the flames in the mask. Super, super cool. Yeah. Super moody.
Yeah, working out for mental health, I can't recommend it enough to people. It'll make everything work better.
Yeah, and I honestly, like, my favorite workout is just taking a walk. I will take like 2-3 hour walks.
Headphones or no
podcast.
Headphones? So
I'm listening to a podcast or an audiobook. I love audiobooks. I read a lot. I love fantasy, sci-fi. stuff. So Scalzi's my favorite author. Love him. It's like a dream of mine to adapt a Scalzi novel to film or TV, but we'll see.
That'd be cool. That'd be super cool. And I guess that kind of leads into this last question I have for you. You've done so much. You've been in the industry, I think you said about 10 or 11 years now. What does the next 5 years look like? What kind of project would you love to work on within the next 5 years?
I would love to do another travel show that is a bigger budget, something along the lines of like Anthony Bourdain or Top Gear, something that has like a full crew, full support. That would be great. The travel show I did was awesome, but it didn't have like a network behind it. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't that high budget. So yeah, I would love to do a big multi-season travel show. And I'd love to work with some of my favorite artists on music videos. I'm starting to finally like get into that world. But I really want to do some reggaeton videos. It's like my favorite genre of music, and I haven't done one yet. So that's next, because I speak Spanish. So I'm like ready for it, you know?
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Well, I see it happening. I certainly do. Just in the past few years I've been following you, you've made a lot of progress, and you should be super proud. So I see it. I see it in your future. Valentina, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
We appreciate all you're doing and all you're doing for the community and everything. If you're listening, go follow Valentina on Instagram, Twitter. Mm-hmm. Get yourself a Twitter and follow Valentina. That's what I'm going to do today.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
If you want memes, I got memes on Twitter. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, thank you again. Thank you. We will talk to you soon. To all the listeners, make sure you subscribe, show Valentina some love, and we'll be back next time. Thanks so much.
Thank you.